make all local businesses, and then they leave. Who are leaving this state? Every time. Losses in a row for the Republican Party. There has not been a Republican win any statewide election, not senator, not AG, not governor, in 24 years. Nothing. We're about to go one more. But that's one step further. This state is about 1 or 2 cycles away from the Republican Party no longer being able to run any statewide candidates anymore. Nobody will run. Larry, you're making it up. Right now in New Mexico, right now, a deep blue state, there is no Republican candidate for governor. For governor of the state, there is no Republican candidate. The Democrat will run unopposed. Think about that. Think about that. So by 2030, Kathy Hochul runs unopposed. 2034, she runs unopposed. Think about that. That's where the state's going. How do you fix that? You fix that with coalition. You fix that with a bunch of people saying the establishment isn't good enough. It's not. Everyone, a pissed off Democrat, independents and Republicans, libertarians, Greens, everyone who's unhappy with the establishment gets together and runs and stops Kathy Hochul. Well, Larry, who was running, who would do that? Well, that would be me. Right now. The issue is there's only one person who's actually making that run, and that person is me. Now, Larry, can you actually do it? Yes, we know already. You know why we know? Because when I ran before, what happened? When I ran before, I already found out what my percentage is. 30% of the people who vote for me are registered Democrats. 30% of the people who vote for me are either not affiliated or independent, and 40% are Republicans. That means I crossed over at about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. No one else can do that. No one else can. So I already have the data. I already know that's true. We can make this happen. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to get people to actually have answers. And some of you in this room asked me questions. And I came here with literally no notes, just talking, and I asked a question. And I said, what is your issue? And you told me. And what did I do? I gave you an answer. I gave you an answer to what I thought, a way that I could actually fix something. Then you might have said, Larry, I don't like that answer. Oh, that's not a good answer. Okay, but at least we're talking about answers. We're talking about answers. Imagine, if you would, a debate right now between Kathy Hochul and Bruce Blakeman. Bruce Blakeman will just go, Hochul is bad. Ooh, Mom Donnie. That's all. She's Mom Donnie light. That's all he'll say. He will give you an answer. What will Democrats do? Oh, Blakeman is Trump. He's Trump light. That's all they'll do. They won't give you an answer. They just say, I will protect you from the other bad guy. We're in a situation right now to where a win for us is just the other guy losing. So if I'm a Democrat, the Republican lost. Yay! Can your kid read? No. if I'm a Republican, then the Democrat lost. Yay! Good. Can you pay your rent? No. How do they get better? If I can't pay my rent, if my kid can't read, if I'm ready to pack them into the state, why do I care whether the Democrat or Republican won? It doesn't matter unless they can fix or make my life better. And that's the goal. I'll say something that's cheesy, but it's true. Our founders did this in our opening documents: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Happy people stay in New York State. Happy people don't want fascism. Happy people don't want socialism. Happy people don't want authoritarianism. Happy people want to stay and build their families and build their businesses and grow families and grow businesses and get educated and do all the cool things. It's unhappy people that want the bad things. If we focus on happy people, we can make a better New York. If we focus on ideas and concepts that make people happier, we can have a better New York. That's education, that's taxation, that's businesses. But most importantly, it is community. It is community. And I'll give you one of my favorite policies to show this. Communities should be doing what they want with their own cash. They should be. More should be staying inside their own community. And that's hard to do, but it's a great policy. If you owe the government money at the end of the year, right, and most of us do, you can take $20 of that, and instead of giving it to Kathy Hochul, if you love her, give it to her. If you don't love her, you can give it to any non-government funded nonprofit in the state. If it's in your county, it's double to 500. You might go, Larry, it's $500, does that matter? What happens when 1,000 people do it? When 10,000 people do it? But more importantly, right now, when it comes to giving, most of the people who control giving are wealthy because they have tons of money. So the wealthy people give out whatever they can to whatever things they care about. What if you don't care about that? You have no power. Or worse, the government creates a government nonprofit NGO, which is just another government organization with government strings and government money and never functions and always fails. But now the average person can give. The average person, no matter what you're making, if you're making $15 an hour or $50 an hour or $500 an hour, you probably owe the government money. And if you do, you can now give. So now the average local person has some control to give. And I can say, you know what I need in my community? I need, as an example, I need a better facility for my elderly, or maybe for childcare, or maybe to fix potholes. I, as the governor, don't decide. You do. And now there's a guy who's smart. He goes, I can fix your potholes. Give me your $500. We all agree. We give him our $500. He goes fix potholes. Let's say he's bad at fixing potholes. He's terrible. You're bad at fixing potholes, man. It's not good. You can't do it. What happens next year? He doesn't get the money because he's bad at fixing potholes. Now, what if instead I go, I'm a local congressperson or I'm an assemblyman, and what I'm going to do is get a policy and I'm going to put together a plan and a program to fix potholes. And I do, and I raise $1 bazillion. And I don't give it to him because it's good. I give it to you because you're my best friend. And you give to my campaign. So I reward you for all your gifts by saying, here you go fix potholes. And you suck at potholes. You just did it. I gave you the money because you gave me money. So I'm just one hand washing the other. So he now runs it. It's a government program. And he sucks at fixing potholes. What happens next? He gets more money because it's a government program. The program didn't work. So what's the problem? It's not funded enough. Of course it isn't. So for his reward for failure is more money. In his case, the reward for failure is he loses money. In the case of government, he gets more. And the potholes still aren't fixed. And the potholes still aren't fixed. Here's the worst part. I decided you needed potholes fixed. You might not have cared about your potholes. You might have said child care was more important. You might have said elderly care is more important. You might have said small business loans are more important. You decide. Larry, will there be mistakes? Of course. But mistakes now affect the entire state and stay for a generation. Ask our kids who are in school right now. Common Core, can't read, can't do math. That's probably making we all pay. But when it's local, it's a local mistake. The last school year, we fix it and move on. But more important, now local people keep local money in their area. And that's what matters. Community matters. Does that make sense, everybody?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So I just gave you one idea. I talk about community all the time. I'm happy to take any questions right now. Thank you so much for being here, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, do I have any specific questions or comments about the campaign, about what I'm trying to achieve, how to fix things, whatever the case may be? I know many of you heard me before. Any questions or comments? Please.
What can you do for folks that want to educate their kids at home that are paying exorbitant taxes to a school system they never use?
This is the most, I bring this up often, it's an important piece. Trump and our you talk about having a sovereign fund for the country back in 2024. I'm saying we need to have one for New York State. A sovereign fund for New York State. The New York State Social Trust is what I call it. It's a sovereign fund for New York State, just like Singapore has one, Norway has one. Taxpayer dollars as a loan. We can do it that way. We can use cryptocurrency. We can use hard metals. Many ways to use a basket of resources, whatever the case may be, to create this sovereign fund. Within 2 years, this sovereign fund can pay for education directly. But a sovereign fund is a separate company. If it's a separate company, the government takes money. Like the lottery, remember that? That doesn't happen. It's a separate company, a separate CEO, and a separate board. Their charge is to pay directly for education. They will pay $24,000 per kid in every district. That's it. Get the money straight. That's what you get. Now, why does that matter? Several reasons. If that goes directly to the district, that means your kid can go to any district they want to go to. I don't care where. The money follows the kid. $24K per year follows the kid. Right now, we dropped $40K, by the way. So it's $16,000 we're saving right then and there. Boom, goes right there. But I'm still not done. If the sovereign fund pays for education, why do we need school tax? We don't. School tax goes away. Depending upon where you are in the state, it's about 50% of your property tax. Some people more, a little bit less, but it's around 50% average across the state. That means the average New Yorker will cut their property tax by 50%. Done. Think about that. That's a change right there. But I'm not done. If the sovereign fund's paying for school, the state is, I've just cut our budget by about $40 billion. Just cut our budget by about $40 billion. I've cut our budget, cut your taxes, and I got dollars now going directly to schools. And I've created school choice with one plan. But I'm still not done. So that 24 grand goes to each district for each kid. That's wonderful. But now, why do I need state money? Why do I need federal money? I don't. Which means that the strings don't matter anymore. There's no strings attached. Which means local people control their own school districts. But the state says I must do X, Y, and Z. I don't care. What are you gonna do? We won't give you money. You don't give me money now. I don't care. Well, you have to this test and that test and this test. You have to force our kids who are struggling with disabilities to go through a system that's not made for them. Why don't I want to push them through it? We won't give you money. You don't give me money now. They have no power. They have no control. Local people actually run their own school districts. That part's critical. That's a critical piece. But I'm not done though. You talked about private school and homeschooling. $24,000 per kid with an $8,000 credit if you want to either homeschool or if you want to private school your kid. What's going to happen? A whole bunch of private schools that cost, guess how much per year? $8,000. Because that's what the credit is. So now you don't want to put your kid into the school. I'm going to put my kid in a private school, a parochial school, a religious school. I don't care. You got $8 grand to do it. I'm going to homeschool my kid. You got $8 grand credit to do it. Buy your stuff, use the $8,000 credit. Get your kids if you want to. I don't mind. Whatever you want. Totally fine. Why not the whole thing? Because even though you do that, you are still part of a district that you are assigned to, even if you make homeschool or put your kid in private school. Therefore, you can still use all the district's facilities. So I can still use district library. So I got one group of kids who are in private school, one group who are homeschooled, one group in the public school, but they're all on the football team, or they're all in a math club, or they're all going to the same prom, As I said, I don't want to break up communities. You're still part of the same community just because your kid goes to Catholic school and the other kid goes to private school and this kid goes to public school. You're still part of the same community. So you can all be in the same football team, or chess club, or math club, or going to trips or whatever. You can still do it all. It still matters. Not just that, now you have specialized schools. There's a lot of people in New York State, tons of them, a lot of kids who have special needs. And the problem with special needs is it's generic. It's generic across the world, and everyone's got to be fit to the one thing. You can now have specialized schools set up with $8,000 credit that can allow people to have specialized schools for their kids with special needs. You can now specialize even within special needs. That doesn't happen now. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely.
That's how we fix it. That's how we fix it.
Yes.
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 Any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
What about medical freedom?
Yes, it's a great question. What drove me crazy, and it was when we saw the lockdowns during the COVID scare. The lockdowns for me were so eye-opening. Why? I live in New York City, I live in Queens. And at 7 o'clock during the lockdown, people would come outside and they would clap. I'm sorry, out the window, because you can't go outside because you might die. So you went the window and they would clap. Clap for our first responders and our people who are helping us. Literally clapped. We clapped for our jailers. That is next level Stockholm syndrome. That's what we did. That was embarrassment. Lockdowns are an insane embarrassment. We should be ashamed of what happened. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be scared. I get it. To be very clear, I have two people in my, at the time, they both passed since then. I had two people in my life at that point who were over 80 and who had pre-existing conditions. And when the COVID scare came out, I was scared for them. I was like, oh my God, this could be a problem. But here's the issue. Just because I was scared doesn't mean I control your life. It doesn't mean I control your life. If I'm afraid for my family, I should act accordingly. Doesn't mean I can tell you, do what I say because I'm scared. Do what I say because I'm scared. No. My family, I'm worried, I should act accordingly. And that's what matters. I'm not mad at people being scared. I get it. It was a scary time. But why would you decide that now I need to lock everybody else down? The amount of damage those lockdowns did, particularly for our youth, we are not going to see that go away literally for decades. I'm not joking. We had a whole generation of kids who've been wrecked. I know my kids were part of it. Wrecked. It's an embarrassment. Now, we keep going. Why are we talking about lockdowns so much? Lockdowns break all 5 parts of our First Amendment. Freedom of speech, religion, assembly, petitioning, press, all of that. It breaks all of them. It's unconstitutional. We have to provide an amendment to the New York Constitution based upon the First Amendment of our Constitution saying lockdowns are against the law no matter what. And it must be an amendment. If it's not an amendment to the law, the government will go, oh, it's an emergency, so no. Why do I do that? Because once you have an amendment to the Constitution, it for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know what the next mandate lockdown thing will be. I can't guess what horribleness it'll be. So we have to have something in the Constitution to allow us to pursue. Not just that, just in general. I'm still a libertarian. No mandates. No mandates. Ever. You will not set me ever. Any other questions or comments? Awesome, go ahead.
What can you do for poor benighted souls like Dexter Taylor,
Yes.
who obviously you just spoke about infringing on the constitutional
Yeah.
rights? That man is a political prisoner.
Let me deal with 2 parts to that. The Second Amendment in general, and then Dexter Taylor specifically. First, Dexter Taylor. Dexter Taylor, if you don't know, he was a gentleman in Brooklyn who was an engineer by trade. So he was deciding if he wanted to change his career. So he said he wanted to see if he wanted to be a gunsmith or not as a career. So he purchased gun parts legally, online, with a credit card. Nothing shady. And he's an engineer like that. He's an actual engineer. So he's figuring out if he wants to be or not a gunsmith. Well, they found out because Amazon or whoever he bought it for let the FBI know this guy's buying gun parts. In New York State, buying any gun part without a register number on it makes you illegal by default because ghost guns. new law made up that's unconstitutional. Capitol does not care. So they kick in his door. I'm not joking. They kick in his door with a SWAT team to arrest him. No criminal record. Didn't sell it. Not giving up ammunition. Nothing loaded. Nothing. They kicked in his door and grabbed him and put him in jail. Then they charged him with the ghost gun stupidity. They did that. And guess what? The judge said in her courtroom, her words, what she said, don't bring the Second Amendment in this courtroom. The judge said, do not bring the Bill of Rights into my courtroom. Why can't you say First Amendment or Fifth? Why can't she just say that? She just said, don't bring the Bill of Rights into my courtroom. So why can't you say, don't bring the Fifth in? Don't bring the Fourth in. I'll search and seize it whatever I want. Don't bring the Sixth in. Nope, don't bring it in. Why can't you say that? She did. What was her punishment? Nothing. Judge Taylor got sentenced for 10 years. 10 years. Democrats put him in jail. Just to be clear, Dexter Taylor is a black man from Brooklyn and a father of a young girl. So the Democrats who tell me all the time how much they love black people, they tell me that I hear it all the time. They decided to take a black man who was literally an engineer, put him in jail for 10 years. He is now, by default, a violent felon. That's how it works in New York State. Any gun crime, even possession, makes you a violent felon. He is now a violent felon, and his daughter is fatherless. That's the Democratic Party. That's who we are right now. That's Kathy Hochul. Was there a pardon? No. I will pardon Dexter Taylor as soon as I'm governor. Yeah. Now, not just that. I'm going to seek to remove that judge immediately. I'm trying to impeach that judge and get rid of her. Why? Because she needs to be an example for all the judges. You cannot say, I will remove the Bill of Rights from a courtroom. That precedent destroys everything. She must be removed. Not just that. I'm going to censor every one of the judges who were supposed to censor her. So she will be removed, and every judge will be censored. Every one of them. I hope it ruins their careers. I hope it ruins their careers, because it ruined his. So hopefully they'll be ruined.
Amen.
Yes, we cannot do that. Now, when it comes to Second Amendment in general, for those of you who support the Second Amendment, there is not a candidate who supports the Second Amendment more than I do. The person does not exist. Bruce Blakeman is for red flag laws. He is for gun control. Once we covered it, and I will cover it. And Kathy Hochul wants more gun laws. What I'm saying here is, I want to make sure, as soon as I'm governor, I'm going to create a new way of changing how we talk about guns. The first thing I'm going to do is say, hey, you know what? Based upon the actual Bruin decision and the Second Amendment, what the Supreme Court said, any, and I mean any, gun possession charge is by default pardoned. It is pardoned. It is a possession charge, it's pardoned. You hit somebody with that gun, shoot somebody with that gun, rob somebody, that's still a crime. The possession charge is pardoned automatically. What did I just do? We have constant carry in New York State. Just overnight, done. What will happen? The DAs will go nuts. The judges will go crazy. They will go nuts. They will sue me, whatever. And here's my response. I will change nothing until we begin to rewrite all the laws in New York State. We have to go back to before the SAFE Act, before 2013. Yeah. That's it. When we start rewriting those laws, I will end my party. But until then, that party is ineffective to rewrite those laws. That's the only way to get moving. So yes, you had a question, Don?
No. So you support the Second Amendment?
Yes.
Are you a concealed carrier or gun owner?
Am I? I know I live in New York City. I don't want to go to jail. Yes, it does.
Why do you say that?
Because if you live in New York City, the odds of you being able to get a concealed carry permit are almost zero unless you apply law enforcement. I am not. So no, I do not. I would not. And even if you do, you might not know this. There's specific ways they work in New York City. If I own a firearm in my home and I go to the range, if I go to the range and I come back from the range and it's too long of a period of time, the cops will put me in jail. They can just decide. You know it's true. They just put me in jail. They said, well, we decided that you should have only taken an hour to get home. You took 2 hours. You're going to jail. That's how it works. Not just that. In New York State, from the SAFE Act, a firearm to be loaded in New York State, ammunition is in the vicinity of the firearm. I'm not joking. So if you gotta know it's true. So I got a box of ammunition here, and a firearm has unloaded in New York State. That is a loaded firearm. Why would I own a firearm in New York City? I'm asking to go to jail. I'm begging. Did I answer your question at least?
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Any other questions or comments?
How about energy affordability?
Energy, okay. Can I grab him first, Indy? Yes, so energy, yes. Energy is a huge piece here, guys. It is a massive piece here. People are paying so much money here, it's insane. How do we fix it? To be forward, Kathy Hochul and Trump are finally on board with me. They're on my train finally. My train has been the nuclear train. I've been talking about nuclear energy for 8 years. They're finally on board. Trump's on board for it, and now Kathy Hochul is too. But the wrong way. The wrong way. Kathy Hochul wants government to build it, and Trump wants AI companies to keep it and build it on their own. Both of those are a bad idea. Here's what should happen. Right now, across the state, it's about 12 different areas you can pop a nuclear power plant in right now. You pop it right in because already things have been dropped, taken away. You can pop it right in if you want. You could. We can put either thorium reactors in there, which China's already building. Thorium reactors are Gen 4. They cannot physically melt down. Or 2, we can put those modular pieces in. We can grow them as large as we want. Either one whatever works best. We ask the local municipality, hey, do you want this in your community? If they say no, they don't get it. That's about localism. Let the people decide. If they don't want it, they don't get it. If they go, yes, we like it, awesome, it goes in. All the government does is lease the land. That's it. Government gets a check every year. Otherwise, I go to the AI company, I say, AI company, energy company together, you guys can go build it. But here's the caveat. You can build it, but 50% of that must be owned by the local people. The local residents of that area individually own that nuclear power plant. Individually, not as a group or this. No, not the government, municipality. No, each person who is a resident of that municipality for 1 year or more is a owner of that facility. Why? Let me explain why. Number one, many times you'll see nuclear energy power plants aren't always profitable. Why? One is building them. Takes 20 years to build a nuclear power plant. Of course, it's not profitable. Of course it is. I'm paying on leasing for this. Costs all kind of money. Here's what I will tell them. Give me the paperwork you require. I need all this paperwork, Governor Sharpe. All of it, awesome. Done. Go. And they're going to go, wait a minute. We didn't go through this. We didn't go through that. I know. Go build it. But Governor Sharpe, they're going to sue. Yes, they'll sue me. Go. I will keep it in court for 3, 4, 5 years. You'll build your plant. Don't worry about it. I'm not joking. Build a plant. So that's one part where it will actually be profitable. Second piece, it'll be a combo of energy companies and AI companies. What are they going to do? They're going to put all their little AI data processing and connect it right to the nuclear power plant. Why do I want that? It doesn't affect our grid. Our grid cannot handle it. For those who don't know, it cannot handle it right now. Our grid cannot handle it. But so you connect it directly to each power plant. It's direct connection. Blockchain, whatever, do it all. Why does that matter? Because as they're paying for this nuclear energy to move their blockchain, to do their data processing, who's making money? The local people. The local people, they're happy to have that. Why does that matter? 2 important reasons for that. Number one, they have voting rights. They're owners, they have voting rights. We cannot control AI right now. AI right now across the world is controlled by 6 top people on the planet. That's it. They control everything. Whatever's going to happen. Trump's already said, we're not going to regulate it. He's already said it. We're not doing it. It is a weapons system. We're not going to regulate it. So how can we control it? We control it through controlling energy. When the people control the energy, the people have leverage. We can vote. I don't like what you're doing with that AI. Looks like you're building a Terminator. We're going to vote no energy for you. No Terminators for you. No energy. And they'll know that. So they won't do it. They will know that we will have voting power over the energy, and it will give us leverage to stop it. We can get rid of their board. We can get rid of their CEO. We can punish them in ways that you can't do any other way. I don't trust my government. I trust individual people more. I do. And they'll have power. But I'm still not done. As they're making money, as the nuclear power plant makes money, we have a couple options. Option number one, you say to yourself, my main street in my municipality is broken. I'm going to fix my main street. Awesome. Take that money from the nuclear power plant, put it into a local credit union, and give out 1% loans for business to grow. Rebuild your main street. You go, no, my main street's fine. My problem's housing. Oh, housing, wonderful. Take that same thing, make 1% mortgages. People can buy houses. I love it. Oh, I don't want that though, Larry. I want housing for people who are, having problems, people with disabilities. Great, take that same thing and then build out housing. You got the cash coming, do what you see fit. Again, you vote, you decide, you have the power. No, I'm not changing anything. Or follow the Alaska model. Alaska's right now. At the end of the year, Alaska gets their money from the oil. They write a check to all their people. Alaskans get a check every year. Take a check. Get a $2,000 check. Why would that matter? Because here's what we could do. If this begins to happen,
and we get even just 8 or 10 of them. Now I have 8 or 10 nuclear power plants in New York State, 50% owned by local people. Others will see it and want it, so we'll get more. Not just that, those people get cheap energy by default. And since they're not owned by the government, they can sell energy to whomever they want. I've just created competition. You will watch energy prices go down. But Larry, our grid can't handle it. No worries, they're making money from all the AI processing. That money will be used to rebuild the grid because they're going to want to sell it to Canada or sell it to Pennsylvania or sell it to a state across whatever. They're going to want to sell it. And what also happens? The local people make more money. Imagine this. You're watching AI take away 1 million jobs last year that did not return. 1 million gone, didn't return. How are our families going to stay together? How? But imagine now we begin to own these assets. This could go back, well, it could happen with a hospital if you want to, could happen with a nuclear power plant if you want to, whatever. But now we own these assets. All of a sudden, if you live in certain municipalities, you're getting that check every year. Maybe one person working can support a family. Imagine that. We haven't had that in 40 years. Imagine if you could have a household where one working person could support a family. Single mom, she can survive. Husband and wife, one parent can stay home. Whatever. Imagine that. Imagine the ability where you could actually get a 1% loan in a municipality and you're 30 years old and you can buy a house. Those days are all gone right now. Who's talking about bringing them back? Only me. Nobody else. I'm the one talking about family. I'm the one talking about community. It's only me. That's how we lower energy. That's how we bring our community back. Does that make sense? Excellent. You had a question or comment?
I do. So, I don't consider myself party affiliated, but you consider yourself libertarian, right?
Correct.
So libertarians are something like 20,000, 22,000, I think, registered in New York State?
None in New York State. We're not a party. Yeah, we're not a party. As a general rule, to give you a number, across the country, on a good year, we're about 3% of the population. In New York State, at our peak, we were about 40,000 at our peak. And that was 2019. Is that right, Craig? Sam, is about right, 2019? So we're about 40,000.
Okay. So with 20 million people here,
yep.
50% or so are Democrats. And it's like 30% or so.
47% are Democrats. Yep. And 23% are, to be clear, 47% are Democrats, 23% are Republicans, 30% are independents, non-affiliated.
So I think the last number that I saw was something like $70 million for a governor's campaign.
Sure,
right?
Makes sense. That's a little bit high, but yep.
Where that was, I think, like New York, Pennsylvania, an average deal. So where do you see yourself getting that money to make a successful?
Great question. Let me cover both of those pieces. Number one. Yeah, the question. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'll repeat your question. The question was, hey, Larry, how many libertarians are in a state? Also, how many Republicans, Democrats, and independents are in a state? And then, Larry, a lot of money is required to run for governor. How do you see yourself getting money to run for governor and make impact? Did I basically get your question right?
Correct.
Good. Okay. So let me cover both of those. Number one, I am running in the Republican primary. That's number one. So I'll be running in the Republican primary against Blakeman, which is a major party. Assuming I win that primary, I will have the Republican line, the conservative line, and assuming I get on the libertarian line, which is nothing I'll be working on, I have 3 lines. I will have 3 lines against Kathy Hochul's 2 lines. So I will have more lines against her. That's how I make impact for your first part of your question, right? I won't be running only the libertarian line. I'll be running on 3 lines. The libertarian line gives me the option of having Democrats vote for me. Why do I know that? The last time I ran in 2018 and 2022, we have actual data from polling. 30% of the people who vote for me are registered Democrats. 30% are registered independents or non-affiliated. 40% are Republicans. So I know that I cross over. So that covers part 1. Part 2, money. How do you make that money? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a interesting tip. Mamdani won in New York City for many reasons. But the number one reason why he won was because of a thing called matching funds in New York State, New York City. New York City has an 8-to-1 matching funds plan. So every $1 you raise, they give you $8. New York City gave Mamdani a check for $12 million. I'm not joking. You can look it up if you want to. I say it publicly, that actually happened. New York City gave him a check for $12 million. If you give me $12 million, I'm next governor of New York. Guarantee that. Guarantee that. So I'm going to wait. He's talking right now. I want to make sure I answer his question. So make sure I answer your question. So with that in mind, New York State has 6-to-1 matching funds. So if I'm able to get $500,000, raise $500,000 from 5,000 New Yorkers, New York State will write me a check for $3 million. And that's before the primary. After the primary, they write me a check for another $3 million. So that's $6 million just from New York State. Now, on my own, the last time I ran, I raised over $500,000 on my own without New York State. I've already done that already before, more than once. I've raised money for other people, up to $1 million for other people already, more than once. That's where all that money comes from. And the actual amount of money you need to run a governance campaign is a little under 20 million. That's the actual number. Cuomo had a little under 20. Hochul right now is a little under 20. When Zelda ran, he raised 11. So it's under 20 is what you need to run. Did I answer your question? Awesome. So guys, you may like what I have to say. You may hate it. But every single question you asked, I answered. I gave you an answer for each one of them. Imagine if we had an actual debate and I had to answer those questions. Kathy Hochul would have to answer questions. So would Blakeman. They can't. They don't know how. It is impossible. I will always give you answers, no matter what. I take any question. Any other questions or comments?
We have a couple online here, Larry.
Please go ahead.
Well, there's comments. One person chimes in. I don't have it right here, but I remember the question. It was you're the domino, and they can't wait for you to make change here so that it goes across the whole country.
I love the idea. Guys, remember something. New York State has the worst ballot access laws in the entire country. New York State is a single-party state. New York State is the state that is the least friendly to business. It is also the least free, as ranked by Cato 6 years in a row. It is also the state that loses the most people every single year. We also have the highest education budget in the entire world. All those things are true. If we can change New York, we can change the world. They are correct. Thank you.
And then the last one, and then we'll have to wrap it, is Dee wants you to talk a little bit about the shenanigans with the convention, the Republican convention.
Oh, yes. Okay.
How they continually make new rules for you to follow.
Yes. Constantly, the system is trying to stop me again and again and again. In the case of Bruce Blakeman, if you are a Republican in this state, you should be embarrassed by your leadership. The Republican leadership in this state, I'm not joking, literally just decided that they were going to coronate Bruce Blakeman. A coronation, I'm not exaggerating. I was at the actual event, is what happened. This is the worst part. A charismatic Democrat won in 2008. His name was Barack Obama. That guy was charismatic. He was young. Oh my God, he was a phenomenon. So the Republicans said, how are we going to beat this Barack Obama guy? I know, Mitt Romney. That was their answer. They said Mitt Romney was the answer, and of course that failed. So same thing just happened in New York City. A charismatic young Democrat just became mayor of New York City. Yeah, it just happened. So what did the New York GOP do? I know, Mitt Romney Jr., Blakeman. And then they said, not just Mitt Romney Jr., but we're going to make him the guy the same way the Democrats did Kathy Hochul. So we have Kathy Hochul Jr. Then we're going to have a primary, nothing. We're just going to coronate him. And when I say coronation, I mean coronation. I was there, 2-day convention. First day of the convention, they opened up with a prayer. Okay, great. Who are you praying for? You're going to pray for maybe children who are injured or farmers who lost their farms. No, it was a prayer for Bruce Blakeman. They hadn't even nominated him yet. They hadn't nominated him yet. They made a prayer for him. That's how. You think I'm making it up? It was videotaped. It was. You could see it like C-SPAN. Go watch it. I'm not making it up. At the end, the day after, when they actually nominated him, here's what they did. If you ever go to a convention, how it usually works is the person or chair is running the convention, and he looks out to the field and says, "Okay, who wants to be talk? Who wants to say something? Who has an issue?" You go back and forth as any convention would be. He didn't. Ed Cox read it. Everything. It was a script. He said, "I want to recognize Jane Doe from Chemung County." And Jane Doe would wake up and go, "I love Bruce Blakeman. He's the best guy in the world. Oh, he's so amazing." And it was a Bruce Blakeman love fest. Then when they actually nominated him, they asked to nominate him. It's written. Guy nominates. And they have to ask, are there any other nominations? A guy actually stood up and went, "I have a nomination." He said that. He was grabbed by a guy in a black suit. I'm not joking. I'm saying this publicly. And shoved out the back door. And the part that bothers me about that more than anything else is the entire room was filled with Blakeman, sycophants. They were all supporting Blakeman. Even if you let this guy say, "I want Joe Schmo to be governor," probably would have said, do you have a second? Nobody would have said it. Done. Or if some guy said, yeah, second, whatever, he would have lost by a gazillion anyway. It was unnecessary to grab this guy and shove him out the back, and they still did it. And then he just reads off, hearing none. That's what he read a piece of paper. Again, you can see it if you want. I'm not making this up. Hearing none. He's our guy now. I'm going to vote, blah, blah, blah. That's it. And that's how he became the nominee. That's an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. And my response is, of course, if Blakeman can't beat me in the primary, he can't beat Hochul. That's what I would say. He can't beat Hochul. But I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to go one step further. People are going to say, well, we can't afford a primary. You can't afford to run, can you? Gentleman right there just told me I'm going to need $20 million to fight. Well, you better have $20 million then? Or what are you doing? Why can't you afford it? Because everyone knows you're going to lose. When they think you're going to win, the money comes flowing every single time. And they think there's why bother? They don't bother giving you the money. That's how that actually works. That's the reality. Yes, but not just that. You know who won after a primary? Trump, Biden, Trump again, Obama. Yeah, they all had primaries and they all won. Primaries make you stronger. That's how it actually works. They act like it doesn't. It makes you a fighter. It makes people in your party see you as a fighter and they get behind you. It motivates them. Unless they know you can't win. Which is why Blakeman has only raised a couple $100,000. Yes, he's a Republican nominee. He raised a couple $100,000. His money he brought from other campaigns over. So we did a bait and switch of the people. And he brought his money over. That's the issue right now. But here, think about this for a second. What happens when I get in the primary? And what happens when the rest of the country goes, holy crap, Larry's in the primary? That guy could actually win. You will watch the money come flowing in like there's no tomorrow. Because they're going to say to themselves, wait a minute. We could knock Kathy Hochul off the top of her perch. Take more money. Take all my money. And then when I beat Blakeman in the actual primary, the money will come flowing in. So all the money you talked about will all come flowing in. How do I know that? It's happened every single time in statewide elections, from Texas to Alabama to New Jersey, Virginia. We saw it happen. It'll happen here too. So did I answer that question, Craig?
Yes, I think so.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for giving me your time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.